Outside the ring, he only had to deal with opponents like Andre the Giant and The Undertaker. But in his new book, My Life Outside the Ring, Hulk Hogan paints a bleak picture of abuse, anger, extramarital affairs, and suicidal thoughts. And that was just on the front page. Welcome to the show.
Thank
Hulk.
you. Thank you so much.
Can I call you Hulk?
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome.
Okay. What's your real name?
First name, Terry.
Terry? Terry.
It's kind of like saying Santa Claus' name is Bob. You know, it does, the kids and
But
everybody.
Terry's not even a macho name.
Well, I had to amp it up a little bit.
You did amp it up with the Hulk.
Yeah, but, it's a lot of people call me, hey, Hogan. That's kind of what I'm used to hearing.
Yes.
Hearing that.
But your book is filled with all sorts of things. Suicide attempts, abuse. Didn't anything nice ever happen to you?
Yeah, a lot of good stuff. A lot of great stuff happened to me. But
it opens with a horrific revelation that you nearly you discussed a suicide attempt. Tell me about it.
Yeah, well, I kind of like bottomed out. I had a whole bunch of things happen in a short amount of time. I lost my family. Basically, I had a show on NBC, a primetime show, where the first day on the set I got hit with divorce papers in front of the Sony soundstage, an arena full of people, and they had NBC on one side, and my son was there, and everything just hit me.
On the reality show?
No, it was American Gladiators. It was a primetime show. And so that hit me at once, and just a bunch of things that happened. My son had an accident, and I went through some crazy things trying to get through the shoot because we had a bunch of episodes ordered, and I just couldn't get out of it. And when I went back to Tampa, to the big house my family grew up in, everything was gone. The kids weren't there. My wife was gone. We were animal freaks, and we had animals. We loved animals. All of the animals were gone. And when I went to every closet, all the clothes were gone. And there were still pictures all over the house of my family and stuff. And
why didn't you take the pictures?
Oh, I don't know. But I was
weird.
Yeah, I was in so much pain from my back and my hips. I had a chair that I sat in the bathroom because I couldn't stand up and shave my face. I'd only shave half my face, and I had to lay on the floor and then get back up and shave the other half. So I had a chair I sat in just to shave and brush my teeth. And I found myself sitting in this chair, and it was just like it all just came on at once. After 23 years of marriage, everything was over. And I just found myself going back to kind of like the old wrestler attitude. I grabbed that bottle of liquor, and I found this really old bottle of Xanaxes, and I ate a couple of them, and I started drinking this bottle. And as the day went on, my gun was there, and I don't remember getting the gun. I just remember hiding the gun in the safe for many years.
She didn't take the gun. She took
No.
She left the gun and the pictures.
Right. I remember hiding the gun in the safe for many years because I didn't want to turn into another Phil Hartman. It was that crazy of a marriage.
Oh, I see.
And so all of a sudden, here I am with this gun, and I've always thought anybody that committed suicide, talked about it, or attempted it is a coward, but I had no idea you could slip into this situation and not realize. And I found myself playing with this gun and hitting it on my teeth and messing with it, and this went on for a couple days. And several people called me. Steve Chapman, my neighbor, called me. A friend of mine, Bubba, called me. Eric Bischoff, another friend, and I thought I was doing real good by saying, oh, I'm okay, man, don't worry about me. And then finally, Layla Ali called me.
Layla, Muhammad Ali's daughter?
Right, and she goes, we're so worried about you. You left LA and you were so depressed, and we haven't heard from you. And just hearing her voice snapped me out of it. It really did.
It's interesting, that story. It went on for a couple of days where you were toying with the idea, but then you decide not to do it.
No, and it just was, I kind of like hypnotized myself. I sat there, and the more I sat there, it just, I almost looked at myself for so long, it didn't seem real.
So did it change your attitude to suicidal people? Because one woman I know who tried to kill herself because she was very ill, she said it really is very impossible to do, very hard to do. It takes a certain kind of guts to do it almost. It's not a cowardly thing.
Oh, I couldn't do it.
You could not do it?
No, I couldn't do it. And the thing was, I just didn't realize I didn't understand why everything changed so fast.
Yeah, but your wife, 23 years with her. You say it was horrific to live with her. What exactly was she doing?
Well, she was unhappy, and I don't know if
Was she unhappy for 23 years?
No, when we started out, I'm still madly in love with her.
You are.
She's a great person. And, I know that person. That's the Linda that I married. And as the time went on, she had a desire to move back to Los Angeles, and my work was on the East Coast because that's where all the wrestling was here. And we made several attempts to go back and forth. I kept several homes in LA. And, as her desire to go back to where she started happened, my career was getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and the drinking started out as kind of like a social thing. And it got to the point where it never stopped. And it would never, you know, I asked her, the kids asked her, you know, she went to the Betty Ford clinic for a short while, and then it got to an aggressive, violent relationship where instead of saying hello, every word was the F word to me.
Really?
And it got to the point where...
So the booze was doing it, you feel?
In my opinion.
She was also, she told People magazine that over the holidays in 2007, she sank into a depression. She said, I didn't have a gun, but I didn't want to live. That was the same time you were contemplating suicide.
Well, I mean, you know, she filed for divorce. And over the years, no matter what it took...
But both of you were very crazy, it sounds, at that time.
Well, I don't know, you know, what her situation was at that time.
That's what she told People magazine.
I'm not sure. The only thing I remember is they said there was going to be a war at that time. I didn't understand that either.
How did it become a war, though? I mean, for 23 years, it wasn't a war. It was a war for some of that time, right?
Yeah, I mean, behind the scenes, there were some serious hard times. But, you know, her attorney, an attorney named A.J. Branco out of Miami, made a statement to People magazine that this is going to be a war. And, I mean, that was the one thing that, you know, I begged Linda, you know, don't file for divorce. Please don't file, please don't file. But when she publicly filed, that's what changed me, because all of a sudden she publicly told everybody she didn't love me, didn't want to be with me, and never wanted to see me again. So that was different than a private argument.
Do you think the lawyer geeked her up a little?
I don't know.
Okay, before the divorce settlement, you said to Rolling Stone, this is an interesting quote, I could have turned everything into a crime scene, like O.J.
Right.
Cutting everybody's throat. It's a little violent. You know that a 19-year-old boy is sleeping in your bed with your wife. I totally understand, O.J., I get it. Now, what happened there? She was sleeping with a 19-year-old boy.
Well, she's in love with one of the children who went to school with my kids, and that's who she's with now. And I was...
She's still with him?
Yes.
How long now?
I don't know, almost 2 years.
Really?
Yeah. And you know, it was a situation where when you live in a town and you're proud to be from that town and you're the world's champion and everybody looks up to you, and then all of a sudden all your friends and your family and everybody there is telling you that there's a young kid driving your cars and your motorcycles and your boats and sleeping in your bed with your wife, it does something to you when you're a man.
Yeah.
And it takes you to a place mentally where you have to decide good, bad, yes, no, take the high road or the low road. And I was at that point in my life, I'm saying, okay, am I going to go down the tubes and be a statistic, or am I going to take the high road? And I understand how someone like O.J. can go down that road. I understand how people can make mistakes, how people can do the wrong thing. But I was at the point in my life where I chose to take the high road, and I remained silent.
But O.J. Simpson, from what I understand, he was in a lot of wife abuse, the two of them, for a long time. I don't think, sounds like your marriage was like that exactly.
No,
there was a lot of hitting in your, was there any hitting?
There was no hitting.
So this was just a jealous rage that she was sleeping with a kid. He's a kid. How old's your wife?
51.
51. She must have something that this 19-year-old's attracted to her. What do you think? Unless he's a, you know, idiot.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is you have to make a decision in life, and sometimes you have to say, okay, you know, do I want to become a statistic and do something really stupid that
but you didn't.
No, I chose to go the other way, but I understand how people flip out and go crazy. That's what I was trying to say. I understand how a situation can happen and someone can flip out. I understand. I'm
curious what you said, though. You said you're still in love with your wife. She's a wonderful person. And yet in your book, you call her an abusive alcoholic. Why do you write this, then, if you love her so much?
Well, I understand. I know the person that she was when I married her. I know who that person is. But as things went along, I went through a situation that I thought it was normal to yell and scream and have chaos and hear cuss words all the time. I didn't understand that mentally and verbally, that sometimes when you hear that all the time, whether you call it abuse or manipulation, at the time I thought that's how life was. And then when I snapped out and I got sick and tired of being sick and tired, what I call breathing